Hello everyone, how are we doing? It's Kelly here from spiritualawakeningsigns.com, and if you don't know who I am, which you should by now because I'm on here all the time, I help people who are struggling with the awakening process to reduce their symptoms and move through the awakening process much more easily, because it's a very challenging time, but there are things that you can do to make it easier and to move through that in a more smooth transition, and I'm here to help you with that. And I've been through it already, so I know how hard it is. So today I wanted to do a little video about the new moon, because we had a new moon a few days ago and it's been causing lots of problems. I've had lots of messages and emails from people telling me that they've struggled with it, that they're having really intense symptoms as a reaction to it, that they're feeling extremely highly sensitive, and I wanted to address that today so that you've got an understanding of, when the new moon's coming up, why is it affecting you in the way that it is, how it's affecting you, all the different symptoms that you're likely to come up against, and also what you can actually do to improve that, to make it better, to survive the next one. Because I know how hard it is, and even I've been feeling it these last few days, the intensity of that, because it's been a particularly high one. So I want to cover that all today. So feel free to say hi in the comments box. I'd love to say hello to you. First of all, hi to Cindy. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us. And if you have any questions, pop them in the box. This is what I'm here for. I'm here to help you. I'm here to support you. I've got you. And if there's anything I can do to alleviate the challenges that are coming up with the topic that we're talking about, let me know and I'll answer them as best I can. So let's get into this today. This should be some interesting content. So the question that I'm really getting, an overview of the question that I'm getting over and over, is why do I feel so bad during the new moon? What is it that's making the new moon do this to me? And the challenge is, I think that, you know, as spiritually inclined people, you see the spiritual community and they have this honour and kinship with the new moon, and they see it as a really beautiful sacred time, and it should be a time of connectedness, of opening up, of manifesting the desires that you're hoping for over the coming month. Always a good time to do that, and everyone portrays it as this wonderful time, and it should be. But when you're going through spiritual awakening, it's not often the experience that you have. I know from my personal experience that generally, when I was really imbalanced in my awakening, and my awakening was very sensitive, quite often what would happen is a new moon would crop up, and whether I was aware that there was a new moon or not, I would generally be unable to sleep. I'd be tossing and turning. I would have terrible, terrible anxiety and a real charged sense of fear throughout my centre. And I just always felt that these different emotions were surging up and I couldn't stop them. You know, reactions to things were so hypersensitive at the new moon that even if I was in the most peaceful, quiet place, I would feel like I was in the middle of chaos, really, really uncomfortable and really difficult. It's really not a good time when you're going through awakening. So I want to talk a bit more about that, and I think the challenge is that, what I like to say is that the new moon doesn't affect muggles, right? So I don't know if you're into Harry Potter. I'm a real big fan. So muggles are non-magic people, right? And I like to think of it like non-spiritual people. For the average person, the new moon does not affect them whatsoever. For the average person, astrological events, astrological shifts, they don't make any difference to those people. They don't really have a reaction to that type of movement. But for those of us going through awakening, it's a completely different story, because any type of astrological shift or new moon can make you feel as if you are clinging on to some sort of emotional and energetic roller coaster that you cannot get off of for days or maybe even weeks. I know for me, when my awakening was extremely sensitive, that sometimes a week before the new moon would cause me problems, and then up to a week after, I was kind of on the come down from that, and then before you know it, we would have a full moon and it would happen all over again. So really, really difficult time, and it can be really hellish, but I want you to know that I do know how it feels, and I've been there, And fortunately, I've learned a lot of things that can make that a lot easier. It doesn't have to be that way if you don't want to have that experience. Now, that being said, you'll probably always be a little bit sensitive to any astrological shifts because you're a light worker and you're attuned and you're open. You'll always probably have a little bit of an awareness, but you don't have to be dragged through all this emotional turmoil and feeling ungrounded and feeling afraid or anxious or shaky or whatever the symptom is that's coming up for you when you go through a new moon. It doesn't have to be that way. And what I did was I created a course. It's free. It's a 5-day course and you get 1 lesson a day. It's an email course to help you to put these things in place so that hopefully the next time the new moon comes around, or indeed the full moon or any astrological shift, you're going to be well grounded and not going to experience the same level of symptoms. You might still have a bit of sensitivity, but you should feel much better. So what I'll do is I'll make sure that I link to that at the end so that you can access that and start making improvements. So that's what we'll do. So before we get into the content, I just also want to say hi to Karen. She put a little wave up. Hi Karen, and hi to everyone else that's watching. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. And like I said before, if you have any questions whatsoever, pop them in the box. I'm more than happy to help, as long as it's to do with the new moon, because that's what we're keeping on track here today. Hi Joseph as well. I've seen you in the group. Thanks for watching. Okay, so let's get into the why, because my perspective is, and this kind of happened for me during awakening, is when you don't understand why something's happening during your awakening, it can be really frightening and it can be really unnerving, and you can feel like the whole process is completely out of control. When you understand that there is actually a structure to what's happening, when you understand that there is a purpose to every little thing that's happening in your awakening, and that it's actually got structure and order to the experience, you start to relax, because when these things come up, you can see that they fit into a framework, and there's a sense of, oh, it's okay, that's meant to happen, that's part of it, and you relax a little bit. So I want to try and help to do that by explaining why the new moon affects you in the way that it does. Okay, so the new moon actually has 3 key functions when we are going through spiritual awakening. It is actually serving a purpose, and there's 3 different ways that it does that for you and gets you ready. So let's go into them, although admittedly it doesn't feel like it's doing you a favour at all during the awakening process, but it is. Okay, so the first way that the moon is helping you through the awakening process is that it heightens your energies. It heightens your energies in a massive way, because the moon has this incredible high vibrational energy, and it gives us that beam of high vibrational light once a month in a short burst, and it basically means that over time you can acclimatise your energy to the heightened intensity of the moon. So think of it like a milestone, a spiritual milestone of, okay, here's the vibration we need you to get up to. So once a month you're going to get a little blast of it, and in the beginning you will not be able to tolerate it because your energy isn't a vibrational match yet. Your energy is too low and too dense. It's not quite there yet. We're going to give you a blast of it, and we'll just do it once a month, a little bit, so it seems. And over time what it will do is, as it's gradually drip fed to you, it'll start to pull you up through the vibrations until you're in a position where you completely resonate with the moon's energy. You're at the same high vibrational level, and when you get to that point, it's not going to affect you negatively at all anymore, because the energy that you're in will be more of a sameness. It will be a comfort, a kinship. It will be something that resonates with who you are. So it's not going to affect you negatively by that point. And it's about, it is pulling you into that energetic space, but it's not only your energy that needs time to catch up, it's your body as well, because we're not used to that level of high vibrational light in our bodies, and it takes time for your body to adjust without all the physical symptoms that tend to come hand in hand with that, and we'll talk about them in a minute. But it's important for you to know that as it's heightening your energies, it's really doing good things for you. The new moon is really a beacon of something that you're aiming to resonate with, to get to where you should be, where you authentically are, and your divine energy to match that. The second key way that the new moon assists us in the awakening process is that it makes us more sensitive. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're already too hypersensitive. Your sensitivity is probably painful at the moment, and your empathy is probably really extreme. And that doesn't sound like it would be a positive thing. But the new moon really has a special way of making us painfully sensitive. And you might feel like every sound kind of rattles through you, and every interaction you have with other people triggers this emotional upset or fear, or sometimes even terror. It can really bring up deep-seated emotions that you had no idea were in there. And quite often you'll wonder why you had such an intense reaction. But what it's really trying to do is to heighten your senses. It's trying to bring everything right up. It's going to intensify your sensitivity. And what it's really doing is preparing you to be purged. Okay, so there's 3 ways that the new moon is doing this to help you. And it has to make you more sensitive so that you can be purged, so that you can be cleared, so that you can resonate with that high vibrational energy, and there are no blocks in here, nothing in here that stops you from getting that connection to source. You can't do that when there's all this other stuff in the centre. So what it's really doing for you is making you super sensitive so that you can actively feel and realise the issues that are coming up to be healed in your system. Because if you weren't sensitive enough, if you weren't aware, you could still deny them, you could still run away from them, you could still avoid them. The new moon is making you so sensitive that there's no way that you can possibly avoid it. There's no way that you can escape these issues. Now that's massively uncomfortable. When you're going through it, I will be the first one to tell you, when these emotional issues come up, sometimes you just feel like, oh, please not now. This is too intense, I'm too afraid. It's really scary. And what a lot of people don't realise about awakening is you need to be pretty brave. You really need to be pretty brave to be able to look at all these things, particularly when you feel so incredibly sensitive and everything hurts. It does hurt. But what it's doing for you is allowing you to make sure that absolutely nothing will get missed. So the awakening process is really, the entire thing is a purging process. It's clearing you, it's healing you, to get back to that perfect divine of spark of light that you were initially. So what it has to do is make sure that you can't avoid any issues on that pathway. So the big ones that really hurt, it's going to make sure you can't run away from them, because you'll be so sensitive that you won't be able to ignore them. And you might have noticed that in your own awakening. You just can't ignore this stuff. It's too intense, it's too powerful, it's too all-encompassing, and there's nowhere to get peace from it. And that is really horrible when it's happening, but it's the universe actually making sure that you will not fail this mission. You're going to be cleared, whether it has to drag you along or whether you come willingly, it's going to make sure you get cleared. So it is actually doing the right thing, because if you didn't address every tiny little aspect, every darkness that's been in your past, in this lifetime or past lifetimes, what could happen is that when you finally step into your power, when you're embracing your gifts and when you are aligned with your life purpose and you're fulfilling that purpose, something could crop up that could absolutely topple you. And that's not conducive to your soul's mission and your life purpose. So the universe is not going to let that happen. That's backwards. It's not going to say, right, we'll clear you out part of the way. You're not really completely clear, but go on, do your life purpose, because inevitably something will crop up that would topple the whole thing. And once you really get clear and you're in that space, the momentum is so fast and so powerful, there's no room for topples or trip-ups. Once you're on that clear pathway and you're connected to the divine, you are moving. So it wouldn't be conducive to the process, and that's why it's trying to make you this really pure channel for the divine by, making you sensitive enough that you can heal everything that's in the way. So that brings us on to the third key thing that the new moon's doing for you, and that's purging you of lower density energy. Okay, all the dark stuff, all the lower stuff, all the things that are holding you down, all the obstacles that are in your life, the patterns of struggle, the pain, the heartbreak, the trauma, all that stuff. That's what it's doing for you. It's trying to bring it up. And what happens is when this high vibrational energy from the new moon comes into your space, it opens up every single one of your chakras. So you've got your chakras right down the centre here. And what happens is when that high vibrational energy gets beamed onto you and you pick up on it, you don't have to be in front of it or outstanding underneath it. That energy is there. And it starts to open up your centre like that. Okay, so everything that was closed here and your chakras were together, everything goes and opens up. So now there's this clear channel right down the centre, okay? And when that centre space is really open and it's really wide open, we're talking wide open, that's where all these old emotional issues start to surge up, and you get these intense emotions and feelings that rise up. Maybe it's, you know, it could be a wave of depression that suddenly clouds over you, or it could be intense anxiety and you don't know why. It could be that you're feeling sad and you start to cry and you don't really understand what it's connected to. You know, it could be that you're mulling over the past and you don't know why you can't stop thinking about it. It's because these channels have been opened up for that short space of the month. They've been opened up and everything's starting to come to the surface because the new moon is literally drawing it out of you like a poultice. You know, it's pulling it out of you to get it out, to get you clear for the ascension process. So it is doing its job. You're not crazy when that stuff's coming up. You're not wrong. It's normal for really intense, powerful emotions and feelings to come up when you're going through the ascension process, and particularly during an astrological event. But if you're getting triggered all the time, and if you might be feeling really emotionally messy, and you know it feels really uncomfortable, but the new moon is doing its job. It's doing its job. It's purging all the old pains, the hurts, the emotions, the negative belief systems about what you believe about life. If you think it's dark, if you think it's crap, if you think everything's corrupt, these are all old belief systems that the new moon's saying, let's pull that out. That's a poison. Let's draw that out. It doesn't need to be in there anymore. And that's what changes your life experience completely. It's like it completely alters your law of attraction. So it is doing what it's meant to do. And it's going to make sure that you ascend, because you cannot stop it and you cannot put the brakes on. You can't deny it. It's going to pull it out of you. So it can be really horrible and uneasy to feel those intense emotions. But like I said, there's something we can do about that, and we'll talk about that at the end. It doesn't have to be that way. Right. So is everyone following what I'm talking about here? We're talking about the how the new moon affects you. So you know that it's doing all these different things. It's making you sensitive. It's purging your energy. It's charging you up and opening you up. So it's natural that you're going to have symptoms as a result of that. Okay, I hope you can see that it is still an important experience, even though it's massively uncomfortable and it sucks. It completely sucks when it's happening. It's not nice, but it is actually helping you to ascend in the grand scheme of things. So even if you can't make the walkway, even if you can't get there, actually the energies that are around you are going to pull you there. You're going to get there and it'll be okay. So let's talk about how the new moon actually affects us, how it's literally affecting us when the new moon's there for you. So there's 3 different levels that the new moon or any astrological event will affect you on when it's happening. So the first level is energetically. That'll be no surprise. So energetically, when the new moon comes in and it opens all your chakras and your bodies get this real intense high vibrational light energy, it's all coming in, what tends to happen is that we get massively ungrounded, okay? It's very difficult for the physical body to sustain that high vibrational energy, and it's like I stated before, you're not aligned with it yet. So like that new moon has got that high white light energy, you're not quite attuned to that just yet, because there's still things in your system that need to be healed, that need to be cleared, that need to be moved. So what it's literally trying to do is lift you up to its level, and when it does that, we become ungrounded. That's just par for the course. That's going to happen, and that tends to cause things like sleep problems, tossing and turning, waking up wired but tired in the middle of the night, feeling nausea, sickness, being unable to eat, and definitely anxiety. Now, the energetic stuff always causes anxiety, and we perceive it as anxiety, but it's actually a feeling of being overcharged. It's an awareness that your energy is saying, we're plugged into the socket and we need to be switched off. The body can't take any more. Okay, that's that letting you know. The second way that the new moon affects you, the second level, is emotionally. So when the new moons opens your energies, and you've got these heightened sensitivities, which is really uncomfortable. So next, all the emotional issues start bubbling to the surface. And it means that you've got emotional upsets, you've got trauma, negative belief systems from this lifetime, past lifetimes. Everything starts to filter into your awareness. So those intense emotions are coming up, and it can make you feel as if you're crazy, because sometimes it's got nothing to do with what's going on in your physical life. Sometimes it can be triggered by that, but often it has nothing to do with what's going on around you. It's because these things are bubbling up to the surface that suddenly you feel, oh gosh, I feel really afraid. What is that feeling? And it's because it's just a little pocket of something that's bubbling up while everything's open, and while you're sensitive enough to actually pick up on it and feel it and process it. So that's all natural. And it can be hard, because what will happen is that you'll unexpectedly respond to things in a way that seems really extreme. So things will be set in motion in your life, designed to trigger it. So some things will come up naturally for no reason, but some things will come up around the new moon because someone says something and it reminds you of something someone said that broke you before, or someone gives you a look. It could be someone when you're walking down the street, they give you a look and it generates all this fear, and it's actually connected to something awful that happened in a past life, or the energy coming off someone, or you pick up on the vibes of a room. It's anything can be used, and the new moon will use anything to get that stuff up out your system, and you've got to feel it if you want to heal it. So it's not easy, and it can make you feel really, really fragile. It can make you feel tearful. It can make you feel depressed. You might feel fear, terror, even anger is really common round about the new moon. They're just looking to be released from your system. So there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with the fact that stuff's coming up, but it can be hard to handle when it does. Okay, I just want to acknowledge some of these comments before we move on to the next one. So hi to Jay, and Martha's saying this is really helpful. I'm so glad. And Holly's saying yes, so much yes to this. I call it an up-leveling. That's great to know that you resonate with it, and I really hope it's helping. Okay, next thing. So the third level that the new moon affects us on is, of course, physically. So the new moon can also be a time where you've got this unexplained fatigue. Very, very common to get unexplained fatigue, aches and pains, old health complaints or injuries, twinges that you've had before start coming up, and you're like, why do my knees hurt? Why is my back sore? Why have I got, pains in my ear? What's going on? It's all these old physical issues that are rising to the surface. So it's a normal thing that as you clear past pain and emotion, that some of that is held within your physical body as well. It's going to be processed physically. So it might be that you've got specific organs or body parts that have been holding on to trauma or unresolved emotions or stress. Okay, they might have been holding on to that for you. It could be that you've sustained injury or illness in a particular area in this lifetime or in a past lifetime, and it's just starting to rise up a little bit to let you know that it's there. So it's important to know that it's not the universe kicking your ass. It's not the new moon trying to make you feel miserable. It's not a cruel joke. It's actually just the pain and discomfort is your body alerting you to where an energy blockage exists within your physical body. So while it is, there are things you can do about that. You can use EFT, like I've got the other free course that you can use for EFT called Ascension Aid. There are things you can do to clear these things when they come up. You can clear the emotions and you can clear the physical stuff. But what I do want to share is that it's really important, even in the ascension process, that you really take good care. Thank you for the love, guys. That you really take good care of your physical health, because you're here for the time being, certainly in a physical body, and there are certain laws of the physical realm that you have to honour, okay? And I actually want to share a little something with you, okay? Because it is important that sometimes you need the medical profession to intervene. If you're worried about something, please just go to the doctor and get it checked, just to be sure. And the reason I say that is because I don't tend to get a lot of physical issues coming up anymore. Not that much. Because I do so much clearing and because I feel I'm coming to the other end of it, I'm not finished. And I'm not saying that, so don't prove me wrong. But, you know, because I'm coming to the other end of this and I've been doing a lot of clearing, I don't tend to get a lot of physical issues anymore. I'm very healthy. However, last week I woke up one morning with this terrible, terrible pain in one side of my back. I thought, what is that? What is that? It feels like a kind of bladder issue or something's going wrong. So I did what I always do, and I sat down with my notebook and I started to work on it with EFT. So if you don't know what EFT is, it's the tapping technique. So you're tapping on specific acupressure points around the body. And what it does when you tap on these points is it dissolves the energy blockage and releases the emotion. So it's the best thing you could ever use when you're going through awakening, because it helps you release the emotion that's making you all upset and uncomfortable, and it helps you clear any physical stuff, and it's safe. It's the only thing I've found that's safe for spiritual awakening. So actually what I'll do is I'll make sure I link to that course as well, so that if you want to try it, I've got a free course that teaches you a little bit every day, and you can learn how to do it for yourself. It's totally easy. It's a great thing. So what I would usually do when I get something like that is say, right, sit down for half an hour, I'll do some tapping on it, I'll clear whatever emotion is going on under the surface, and it'll usually clear. And that's not unusual for me, because over the years I've managed to clear. I've had you know, stomach ulcers, I've had IBS, I've had panic attacks, I've had a lot of physical issues that I've been able to resolve really easily with EFT. So I started to work on this, and there were emotional components to it. So there was all this old stuff to do with old connections I'd had, and anger. The bladder's all to do with anger, bitterness, resentment. You know, there's other stuff in there. And I was surprised. I was like, didn't realise this was in there. But okay, clearing it out. Cleared it out. And that was in the morning. And as the day went on, the pain got worse and worse and worse. And eventually I thought, okay, I've done a bit of clearing on it. I think I'd cleared it twice. And twice there was all this emotion and there was plenty of energetic stuff to work on, but it wasn't going away. And I thought, okay, it's time to go to the doctor, which I did. And I got the antibiotics that I needed. And within a few days, it was all cleared up and everything's fine. But the reason I bring this story up is because even though that had an energetic component to it, once it takes hold in the physical body and it chooses to clear that way, you're going to need intervention from the medical profession. There's just no way around it. You need to get help. It's like you can't drink poison and just say, love and light, it'll be okay. You know, you're still governed by physical laws here. You need to look after your physical health as well as your emotional and energetic health. So just make sure if anything like that comes up that you nip to the doctor and get what you need. And your system will still process that, it's okay. But sometimes, even though I did the energetic work, sometimes you need physical medical intervention. So just please be aware of that and take really good care of yourselves when it comes to that kind of stuff. Right, let's see. I'm going to go into a few more things here. We're nearly done. And let's see what else everyone said. So, hi Jessica, thanks for watching. Sufi says, so much sadness with these moons. That means there's some old pain in there that your system's looking to clear, so it's really uncomfortable, but EFT would probably really help you. You can use it, and even if you're crying, you can tap through the points and it'll start to lift and you'll feel better. So like I said, I'll put the link in the comments box. Hi Shelley, thanks for the love. Holly's asking, how do you do your clearings? EFT, always EFT. And I used different therapies over the years, and I still use different therapies, but for spiritual awakening, there's nothing faster or more effective or safer in grounding than I've found EFT to be. So definitely the best. And definitely the best because it works on your energy and your physical body. So you're getting the double whammy, whereas if you use any other technique, if it's only energy healing or it's only physical healing, you have to do the other half at some point, so it's much quicker. Jasmine says, hello, I'll need to watch the replay later. I know I missed some good info. Yeah, you have the replay there. You can watch that at your convenience. And Holly says, I've never thought of using EFT for clearing, only where things got hard. Thank you. You're welcome. It's the best thing to use for clearing. If you go for the free course, which I'll link, it's called Ascension Aid, and it's orange. You'll see the banners orange. That's the one with EFT. You can get started, and during the ascension process it speeds everything up. It's absolutely wonderful. So the course will show you exactly what to do on that. Okay, almost done. So kind of to overview what I was talking about there as well, if you want to get grounded, you want to feel better, and you want to make it through the next new moon without all this terrible turbulence and tumultuous experience, then what you really need to do is to get grounded. The challenge is the new moon is always going to do what it needs to do to get you where you need to go. Okay, so it's always going to purge you, it's always going to make you more sensitive, it's always going to do those things until you are in alignment. After that, you're in alignment, it doesn't happen anymore. But there's nothing you can do about that. That's part of the ascension process. The purge still needs to happen, and that the healing still needs to take place. But what you can do is you can fully ground your energy. That's the thing that makes the difference every single time, and I tried everything. Please believe me when I say I tried everything to feel better during awakening. Grounding was the only thing that really worked. It's the thing that will bring density to your body, to your energy, and it anchors you to the physical reality. It's kind of like balancing out that high vibrational energy that you can't quite handle yet. So just giving that balance right in the middle. And if you can properly ground your energy, you won't stop the purge from happening. Like I said, the purge has to happen. Nothing can truly stop that. But it will feel more stable, more secure when it's happening. Your emotions won't come up so erratically and powerfully. And it won't feel as chaotic when you're going through this every new moon. It'll kind of reduce those symptoms down so that you feel a bit more together. And you're not feeling unwell, because it's not fun to go through that experience feeling really unwell every time there's an astrological shift. So it's really important to do that. But one thing I will stipulate, and I always tell people, is that not all grounding methods are safe during spiritual awakening. This is the most important key part of my work that I try to share with everyone, because I used the traditional grounding methods and I thought that they would ground me, because everyone said, yeah, use incense, use crystals, use oils, use meditation. And what I didn't know at that time is that to the average person that can be grounding, but when you're going through awakening and you're already so hypersensitive and your energies are so fragile, that anything like that, oils, crystals, incense, meditation, yoga, these things will stimulate and charge your energies further. And it takes you to a level that your system cannot handle. So you really don't want to be in that position. You definitely don't want to feel that way. And not only can it make your symptoms worse, but it can actually trigger a spiritual emergency. And I know, because it happened to me, and I had a psychosis-like event, and had a total breakdown. So while that seems really extreme, it won't be if you get grounded, but just please, please don't do it through the traditional methods. And I've listed it in the course what you can do. The best thing that you can do, just so you know what you're going into, is to remove those energetic stimulants just for a little while. If you can remove them over the time that you're around the new moon, or you're going through any shifts, or you're feeling your symptoms are particularly bad, you'll make a big difference. So that's all in the course, including some things that you can do when you're in a fix to get you grounded really quickly, so that you'll feel better, so that you come back down to earth, so that things start to feel a bit more normal again, and you keep the connection, but you feel better within yourself, and the process is working much more compatibly with your body and your emotions and your energy, because that's really, really important. So let me see if there's anything else. I think that's everything. Yeah, I think that's everything. So I'm just going to answer a few comments just before we finish up. So let's see. Okay, Shelley saying, thank you so much. You really helped me see things much more clearly. Much love to you. Much love to you, Shelley. Thank you so much. I'm really glad that it's helped, and I hope that everyone's able to grasp this. What I've done is I've made sure that I've put it into a blog post, so that later on, I think tonight, it'll come out for everyone so that you've got it there as an article. It might be handy if you want to refer back to it. And what I will do is I will post both of the links to the 2 free courses. So the first one is the grounding course. You'll see that's an image of a person in purple. If that's the one you're looking for, that's the one that will reduce your symptoms. And then you've got the other course, which is called Ascension Aid, which is orange, and you'll see it below in the banner. And it's if you want to start using EFT and you want to start healing and clearing when these emotions come up, when the physical stuff comes up. I'm so passionate about it. You can probably tell. I love it and I use it every day. So have a look at that. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for all your lovely comments. Jilly's saying your page is wonderful and helps so many. Oh, that means so much to me. Thank you. I'm really glad, and it makes me feel really in alignment when I'm able to do that. So thank you very much for being with me on this journey. I really appreciate it. I'll post those links to those free resources below, and thank you for watching, and please share the video. Please share it with anyone else who might need some help, and have a good week, guys. See you soon. Bye.